We're all in the zone now, I hope.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. I don't think we've done an intro like that before where we just go with the music. That worked really well. Thanks, Melisandre. So we introduce ourselves. I'm
Yeah.
Gavin. I'm artist curator here at Eastside Projects, and my pronouns are he, him. Over to you, Ruth.
Okay, I'll go next. My name's Ruth. I'm artist maker at Eastside Projects. My pronouns are she, her.
And introducing Melisandre Varin.
Hey, uh, my name is Melissandre Varin. I prefer to be called nuage outside of work. And my pronouns are they, them, no pronouns. But, well, I'll stop here. Just to say, recently I just like don't care that much. But it's just temporary. And yeah, I should say that I've been invited as an incidental artist um, to create magic with Eastside Projects as a space and a team. And it's been a real honor, and it still is. And in turn, I've invited others, but you'll hear more about les ongles noirs, dirty nails, in a bit.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk around some of the ideas that are developing for the exhibition and events and workshops and gatherings and meetings and quite a range of activities that are coming out of Melisandre's practice. Um, and and we haven't got that much of a plan. We're going to explore quite a few things and see where it leads us, which feels appropriate. But just to mention, so the exhibition of Les Ongles Noirs will happen at Eastside Projects in June, from the 7th of June to the 27th of July. But prior to that, the exhibition will be emerging and growing out in Senegal at Ban Workshop. And all of this is hand in hand with our partners in crime, Fabric, and Dwayne is here from Fabric. So hi to Dwayne. That we've been working alongside Melisandre and the other artists over the past year or so. Did you want to do some breathing first, Melisandre? Is that what you said?
I do, and I completely forgot to describe, to do the image description. Shall we do that quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. What you mean from the invitation,
Just
the text, or the?
Mel, for yourself. You go for it, Mel.
You go.
So I am a black person with a yellow hat, beanie, I think it's called. I have short locks, um, shaved on the sides. I have yellow woolen jumper that is very comfortable. And behind me is my living room with a beige. It's an interesting exercise. Beige wall and some bits and bobs and a bit of leaves as well, and a bit of this fantastic orange sofa. And orange is my favorite color, so that's what I wanted to mention. So this is me.
Nice.
Shall I go next? So I am a white woman. I've got longer than it has been, but still short grey hair, glasses, a dark green jumper, which is also very comfortable. And I'm in Eastside Projects gathering room. So I've got artworks by Yang Group and Liam Gillick behind me. And just to say that if you need closed captions, you should just be able to enable those as well. So if anyone needs those, you should just be able to switch those on.
Okay, I am a white man with what I describe as a perfectly bald head and a cheeky grin and a green body warmer thing on. And behind me is quite a stunning, very large artwork by Joburg-based Lady Scully, which has many ostriches running towards a giant golden egg at the top.
I love that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Shall we breathe then? Not that I assume
Yeah,
that
okay.
you haven't been breathing since the beginning, but shall we like slow down our pace of breathing? So like I love to do things in threes. So could we breathe in and out 3 times together? And then it might create a sort of virtual circle between us, and then it's just the vibe is just different. So we breathe in and out for 4. I'll count, I suppose. We breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4. We breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4. We breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And out. Is it 2 or 3?
That was 3.
Ah, wonderful.
I like that version without the hold 4 in the middle, which is much more much more tricky to hold 4. It's kind of that's what happened last time. So nice variation.
What if people have got questions? Do we want to ask them to put it in the chat or say it as they go along? Like, how do you want to handle questions, Mel? Just realised we didn't think that through.
Yes, you can you can feel it. So if you want to interrupt us, I'm welcoming interruptions as well. And share your voice. That's welcome. If you want to write it down, that's wonderful. I won't be looking at the chat though. So if you see questions,
I can do that.
okay, cool. It's too many things to look at.
I know.
Yeah, and it's meant to, you know, like as I said, I'm in my living room. It's meant to be like super chill. Yesterday it was my birthday, so I'm like brand new, just birthed again, and need some time to come back to the outside world. So yeah, I think as a general rule, be gentle. You know, if it's not too much of an ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, and take it with you for the rest of the day as well. Being gentle. Yeah. Shall we proceed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to start with Les Ongles Noirs and well, a little bit of like our fascination and interest and the hook into the project with this sentence that you can see in front of you here as well, this invitation to play and grieve and hum and throw soil on white walls and dance and pray and touch and be moved by the unknown, and that you have a really powerful way to get right into the heart of something that feels like you can find a connection to things. And I think that's what we immediately felt really moved by the idea that we don't know how to necessarily do all of those things. And that's always a good sign when we want an artist to help show us the way with certain things and to reveal things to us and to others around us. So I think that's been, and that feels like that's been quite a consistent revelation as we've been working together and learning things along the way. So it might, and also I love this. This is quite a recent phrase, this sticky experimental thing, which is, I don't know where that came from. Is that just pop out of the air, or?
Hmm.
I
It
think
was
it's
meant
new,
to be
isn't it?
there. Yeah. I think it was meant to be there. You know, we're talking about or feeling the mud in between our fingers. So there's elements of stickiness in that. And I really want to see the Carmen Wong, who's going to do food ceremonies as part of this experiment to make sticky food, because one of my favorites. So reminder. Yeah, sticky. And you know, in the past, I've used sticky questions, the questions that stays with us for a very long time, and that are difficult to approach. And I think through my practice, there is a lot of that. And it still stays sticky, but like there is a different, we can have a different perspective on that, but the stickiness remains.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us that outline image of what you felt Les Ongles Noirs was going to be at the core of it?
First, I want to acknowledge that I love how you say Les Ongles Noirs.
And that's as good as I can do it.
No, it's really good. I love it. You know, I also have funny pronunciation in English, so you know, it's welcome. So Les Ongles Noirs is I was reading. I had a mentor when I started in the arts. I started in Martinique as part of a hybrid research. I was a hybrid researcher there, working with local artists, and I also was mentored by a thinker, writer, multi-function genius person whose name is Véronique Canor. And this person wrote a magnificent book that is in French. I don't think it's translated, but it's called Combien de solitude? How many solitudes? And as I was, there was Les Ongles Noirs is like part of a very dense and like so soft at the same time narration that can remind a little bit, like for me, it reminded me of Aimé Césaire, Cahiers d'un retour au pays natal. But this, like, if you feel like you can read the book in one go, there's no space to stop because you're so taken by it. So, but I stopped at that, at Les Ongles Noirs, because I think I'm very attracted, and then I find obsessions with things that are extremely simple, but like there is a click that comes because it takes you back to prime the first experiments of like putting your hand in soil or in mud and having this first experience of it. And Les Ongles Noirs, when Véronique was writing about it, I felt like, you know, this searching, this frenetic searching through the soil to find yourself. And I feel like it's something you know, I'm in this body to do that in this lifetime, to search through the soil and to be left with des ongles noirs, with dirty nails. And it's also, please stop me because I can speak a lot. I think it's also interesting how I translated Les Ongles Noirs in relation to my practice, because it says black fingernails in French, and then I translated it as dirty fingernails, which is I tricked myself there, because I've in the past mainly used the color black as a source of comfort, a sort of like an embodiment of healing power, like a resource to hold ourselves tight with this color black. And it was also a wink against the stereotypical it's not criminalization, but it's like the stereotypical negative views of the color black and blackness in general. And then yet here I am now translating black as dirty, which is very interesting, and a conversation I will have with myself. But it's really interesting because then in this translation, dirty is not a negative thing, neither. It is something that is desired. and that provides a portal towards transformation.
Yeah. And you see, and you think that that is also partly in relation to the idea of the gallery, of the pristine gallery, of the white cube gallery, because I thought that felt like a positive criticism of the white gallery, to dirty the gallery, like it needs to change, like a transformation.
3 years ago, I was working at Coventry Art Space in a gallery called Arcadia, and I had so much love for this space. I spent about a year in this space, and the space was meant to be a gallery, to function as a gallery. But spending so much time there, I started to think about artists as land workers, art workers as land workers, because at the end of the day, no matter if I say this is my living room in my home, this is land. This is the gallery of Eastside Gallery, it is land. And I think stripping back to what is on a ontological way is really, it's opening up maybe little windows to think about how could we behave, or what can we do in the what if bubble. So coming to the UK, there was lots of emphasis. I think I came here like 4 years ago, something like that. 5 years ago. There was lots of emphasis around white cubes, white spaces. And I also started a PhD that I never finished around the Black non-binary performances in white spaces. So there was lots of like white thinking going through my body. And it's only by going back to the basic, looking at the dirt on the floor, appreciating a wall that has been made by a fabricator or a gallery technician or something like that, that then I could distance myself from theory, because obviously like starting a PhD, there is lots of theory, and like going back to what is. I'm not saying that white spaces in fact and in practice does not exist. It does exist. I'm saying that there is, by looking at the minuscule, that by looking at the microscopic, there is so much ways to be otherwise with those spaces. So I'm not having a defensive approach to white spaces, but I'm wondering, okay, there is this crystallization. What can be done with that?
Yeah.
So with this project, there is this, what can we do with what we have? There is this sort of resonating refrain. What can we do with what we have? And we have a fantastic space at Eastside Projects. It is incredible. I remember when I moved to Birmingham, I was amazed, and for now to be in a position to be like, okay, I'm gonna make with you, like as a space, talking with a space, I'm gonna make with you, if you will, and let's see what's gonna happen from that. I think it's very powerful. Back to the white walls. Yes, I want absolutely pristine white walls for the exhibition. Mindy from Coventry Art Space used to say, how can we act with reverence in relation to my work? How can we act with reverence in relation to the white walls? And I feel like this is like such a powerful continuation of this reflection.
Yeah.
But
you also you use this phrase, I've written down in my notes, landscaping is a way of building worlds, which feels like it sort of picks out of that what you've just been saying of the land worker and that's what we're going to be doing in the space, isn't it? We're going to be making a landscape together in a way. So
100%. It makes me want to, I don't know if you can see, I want to show you something. So I don't have a studio practice or a studio, so it's just my home, right? If you can see up there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not like super, I can't take it because I'm too small. But basically, this is, I live nearby the best ox farm in the world. It's a charity shop. And I started to gather some paintings from there, and but were painted by white people, and to play painter, because everything is about playing, in the sense like nothing matters, everything matters so much. So for me, I wanted to play painter for this exhibition as well. And so I painted with my finger over the landscape that had been landscaped by white people, of a countryside landscape. And for me, this is such a powerful thing to do, because it tells my little self and everyone that it reminds us that we have agency. And sometimes I think through life and discourses and systems that are built specifically against people, we forget that we have this agency. And so for me, it's through the little things, okay, we're gonna use the color black to reclaim the possibility to make our worlds, to build our world, right? And also just for me to play, right? So I think this is very important in my practice as well, because I never graduated from an art degree or something, but I did from environment and sustainable development. So I have a strong understanding, so strong. I have a strong understanding of what it means to make with biomaterial, especially when it comes to having heritages from the global south and making in the global north. And what this divide, reminding of this divide, means also when making something. So yeah, I think I have aspiration for architectural thoughts and desires that I want to share with everyone. And most importantly, I just really want to go back to the basics so that everyone feel that, like me, I don't have specific skills, right? That they can also they can change everything, and they can make everything, and they can destroy everything. And destruction is a very important part of this experiment as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be interesting to talk a bit more about destruction, because that's been in from the very beginning, the idea of kind of creating this space that is to be destroyed during the process of the show. And
Yes.
like, I know that you've kind of thought about that in other works, but it's quite a particular move, I suppose, or a particular decision but is at the core. So yeah, it'd be interesting to just talk about like how you're imagining it and why.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because destruction is always in the happening. It's always happening, even when we're making a polished, super polished show, right? But to make it so visible, I think it goes back to what Gavin was saying, like this importance on play in the show. And I'm thinking right now of, when you're young and you see the house built by ants. And I don't know if you did that as well, but for me, I sure did destroy some ants architecture. And there's so much learning that happens through the act of destroying. And back to this desire to remind myself and others that we have agency here. Going to a gallery where usually we look at the things that are pinned on the wall, and it's like, oh, it's cool. Oh, and this is the best scenario for me, my experience. no, that's quite interesting, that's not interesting. And then we move on to the next thing. And I think also like this impossibility to touch is so infuriating. I'm sorry, I dislike that. It's so discomforting, I find. And so this, with this experiment, everyone is invited to make and destroy. So here we're seeing a photo of how it might look like in the gallery. So the gallery is super big, and so we're gonna fill it with soil, and everyone's gonna be invited with instructions, and yeah, with instructions to throw soil at or on white walls. So this is an act of creation and destruction at the same time. I feel like, yeah, the separation is very thin. And then towards the end, because I've never seen a collective deinstallation, towards the end, we're gonna have students coming to the gallery for destruction workshop. So we're gonna destroy everything, which is for me maybe a sadomasochist way of reminding myself that everything is ephemeral. So, for example, the thing I showed you, the painting I showed you, it's been in our home for 2 years, and this is gonna be destroyed as well. And I love this so much. It's like my master in my head. But I think there is so much that can be gathered and soaked from moments of destroying the most valuable things you have, or of destroying something that is deemed art, you know. I still don't quite know what art is. So yeah, and for children in particular, to have this embodied experience of I've been to a gallery space and I destroyed everything that could be destroyed. I think it's such a gift for my little person, for the little person that is still in me, of like going to an art space like as a teenager, because I don't think I went as a child, and being like, whoa, this is not my place, and I don't know how to act here. And here we're telling you like, it's fine. You're actually invited to do the most, you know, and you don't have to, neither. So it's expanding the possibilities of how to be in space, and you know, expanding the possibilities of what, as fellow human beings, how can we act on education without like going too deep, but like how can we act on education by letting little ones and grown-ups know that there is nothing they can't do, including carnage, chaos, making chaos in here. And it's okay to breathe, you know, like it's okay to breathe, it's okay to scream, it's okay to cry, it's okay to touch and destroy. The number of time I have to tell my own little one, Eol, 5 years old, don't touch, don't touch. Like every time it's like such a anxiety specific. It's not my way, right? But this policing is enforced by artists choosing to continue making work that can't be touched, but also what is it? People invigilating the space, the policy of the art spaces, and so on. And then we then in turn instill and impregnate everyone with this like. There's only you can only have a look and then you have to move. So I think especially for Black people and people with identities that are questioned, it's so it's creating unlivable worlds to be followed at the shop, followed at the gallery, followed at the library. You know, I don't want that as part of the experiment we do. I don't want that in life in general. So yeah, I don't know if I talked about the destruction. Ruth, maybe you might want to talk about it a little bit more.
No, I mean, I don't think I can follow that, to be honest. I think that was a pretty, amazing way of describing it. And I suppose, yeah. Well, it was just making me think that you were talking about galleries, and then it went into the world, and it just made me think of all the contexts where you can't touch and you're excluded, and space is privatized, and all the things that are happening around us that are invisible, that control like our every move. Basically. So the kind of gallery becomes a sort of microcosm of the rest of the universe, really, which is, like, it was really interesting. We had a gathering last week where a number of the artists came to Birmingham just to kind of start talking about things, really. And I thought one of the things that was interesting in that was you talking about it as an unfolding experiment, which I think it'd be interesting for you to talk about a bit more now, but also just thinking about an unfolding experiment, maybe start the idea that it starts here, but actually could unfold in people's lives for the next 50 years for these kids. So there's a really nice kind of in and out of time in that as well. I mean, I think it would be, because one of the really interesting things about this project is no one knows what's going to happen, even though it's only, I don't know, 4 months away or something. And so, I wonder whether you could talk a bit about that and what's interesting about the idea of that kind of not knowing for you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It reminded me as well to name the incredible people we're working with. So Sim Mendes / Sim Stellium, Maria Muembo, Mimi, Aisha Jones, Ban Workshop that you named, who is also our partner in Dakar, Carmen Wong, Jade Blackstock, and Bronwyn Katz. Okay, going backwards. Bronwyn Katz. So with Sim last year, no, 2 years ago, we self-funded a trip to go to Dakar Biennial. And we saw a work by Bronwyn that inspired the show. It kick-started all the unfolded ideas and processes of this experiment. So in this performance video, Bronwyn was performing very specific gestures, movements, and there was a red soil, sort of something that looks like red soil all around, wearing white. And I remember I couldn't stop watching it. And an asterisk also to say that for us to go to Dakar Biennial, we like took every coins we had because we had to go. And this is also part of the process of this experiment making, following the calls without knowing where we're going. Basically, are we going to be in position to pay rent the next month? We don't know, but we know that we need to make it. And if we hadn't, then we wouldn't have this experiment. So also thinking through things of not having to always have partners in the arts to go and do what we need to do. So during this trip, we encountered this incredible work. I wrote a lot, and then this writing made it to different publications, and also to Papaya Performance in Luxembourg last year. There is which is the first time in this lifetime that I made work in this way. So this is a big, I don't know what is happening, and I'm following the wave, because I used to be a very first degree was in international management. I used to be like a very on my on my shit like person. and Gavin Roof and Asim here know that I am not like that at all anymore, and can be troubling. So I used to like be commissioned, make work, and now taking this route, I wasn't commissioned. I was taking risk myself because I was feeling a call. And then so many things unfolds from that. I don't know how many, this is one of the experiments, but I don't know how many artworks unfolded from this moment, having to be there and having to go back there, but not only with myself, with other artists and art workers. I think it reminds me of, I was listening to, so I started to listen to a podcast by Oprah, which is so weird of me. It's really like, I'm really into self-help lately anyways. So this person was saying, Oprah was reminding people that there is this quote or citation by Maya Angelou that says, it's like about grandmothers, that says, I came coming as one, as 10,000, basically. And I think that the spirituality of this experiment and the spirituality of my practice is very much anchored in that. So back to like being invited as a Melissandre Varin and coming in and inviting so many people and coming in also as an individual that holds so much potential and not expectation, but I have duties. You see what I mean? Like I have I don't come just like to paint flowers on the wall. Like I have responsibilities. I personally believe that I have responsibilities when it comes to my ancestors. My heritage is from DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Benin, and Guadeloupe. And I have responsibilities to the people then in turn invite and the people who invite me. So I think then it creates this like resonating ball of practices, of behavior, of hopes, desires, and fears that are challenging to manage. But there are dreams. All these things, this mixture of things, for me, it holds so much dreams that needs to be in the manifestation. So I think that art, when it comes to art practice, what we're doing with Les Ongles Noirs is manifesting. We're manifesting dreams into this realm. So all artists have been invited with with the openness and spaciousness to bring in not only themselves as an individual in the material world, but also their belief, their practices. And we all have different practices and we're extremely different. I've never worked with such different people. And all of that comes in the same bowl. And there is this tension of making sure that individuality remains whilst creating something together without it. My intention is not to create chaos. I hate chaos, except when it comes to sorting out my laptop. I think what I'm trying to say is not only that we don't know, but what we put in place to manifest those dreams. So my dream, Karin's dream, Sim's dream, Mimi's dream, everyone's dreams, what we put in place for this to happen is a loop of like further, I don't know. Every time there is an added layer of like, whoa, what's gonna happen? We don't know. And there is no desire to answer. And then this takes me to the part where we talk about activators, which is our sort of wise circle. We invited researchers, artists, curators, little ones, and I'm seeing that here, like you can see here, Bouzebik, Aisha's child, and my child Eol are not named, so I should amend that because they are also part of the show, of the experiment. So we invite, and they also part, I'm thinking of them too, because they are also part of our WISE circle that is activate. We name them as activators. So they share with us questions. So again, it's not the board system that's been chosen for this experiment is through questions and not through comments or, I don't have space for in my life for that at the moment. I don't feel like it's generative for this experiment. What is generative is open-ended invitation. When we invite people in, we invite them, this is an invitation to play, grieve, hum, throw soil on white wall. So everything needs to be an opening up.
But I think there's something in the bottom of this document. There's a bit where you kind of say, this started with an invitation from Eastside Projects that then led to these invitations that's now leading to an invitation to you. There's something really nice about that. That I think it's in the bottom, about that kind of sequence of invitations as well, that then when the project is active, the gallery will kind of extend out again into the world and into audiences and into people who might come to the Together in the Mud workshops, or people who, very specific people we work. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill of invitations to bring people in, and see what happens then, because the experiment continues, I suppose, doesn't it? Because again, we have no idea. Yeah. It's a really interesting.
It is very particular approach to go with an idea towards the unknown. When you're working with spirit. So yeah, I think it just makes sense, even in this realm, to not know.
But it's quite unusual in an art context for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
I think that kind of foregrounding of the not knowing, and when you were talking last week with the artist, that kind of idea that it doesn't matter. This isn't about producing the world's greatest work necessarily. That might happen, that might not. And it doesn't matter because it's the experience of it and the being in it and the kind of bringing to it that is like where the work is and where the value is, felt very powerful for me.
Yeah, I think it is a very, something I've learned with collective work the past 3 years. Being part of collectives or setting up collectives with Black practitioners in them. There is a very specific approach to making art, especially coming from families, with a lower class background. Making art is not just something that, I want to make art, so I'm just going to give it a try. It is often a fight. And more so an inner fight. There is something to prove. And I think everybody in the art world feels that to a certain degree that they have something to prove, but there is an added layer of pressure, especially, being from questioned, I'm going to stay with that today, from questioned identities. And I'm going to speak for myself. Coming from lower class background, I come from Black excellence desires. And I feel like I fulfill that with my own criteria, but absolutely not with the criteria of my family of origin. So there is an inner battle that keeps on happening. And there is an inner healing that happens for more than me by doing what I need to do. So it's not only about following my passion, because this is only one layer of things. It's following what I've been made to do. So I think, from my experience with Open Call, I was working with artist researchers, redistributing resources with that, working with Black people of color, queer, disabled, crazy. What did Sim said last time? I don't know if it was crazy or mad, reclaiming madness. Beings making experiments every year. Last year it was having artist honeymoons, we book this collective made of, again, like artists, curators, research facilitators, running residencies, sharing commissions and everything like that. It's never been what we do, but in the learning of the doing. Yeah, the resource, I didn't finish this sentence. The resource comes from the doing. From in my perspective, I'm someone that experiment things. And by doing this experiment, then I understand a little bit more every time. And then the more I understand, the less I understand. And I think freeing, like making an emphasis on the I don't know, and freeing the fact that even Gavin and Ruth, who's been working in the art for so long, they don't know, you know, and it's fine. And it is something that I cherish so much, and something that I want to share more and more. The fact that you, even if you don't know and you're never gonna know, you can still try, and it's a try. So I had a period of rehab, let's say, for 4 months. And at some point I watched Greenleaf, which is so unlike me. Again, just trying things. I'm having my mid-40s crisis. So I watched Greenleaf, which is like a TV show about Black Christians or something like that. I didn't fully understand. But in it, the person was saying, you know, at the end of the day in life, the only thing we can do is to try. And I was like, you know, from mainstream culture, sometimes the most beautiful things come. And I was like, yeah, exactly. With anything we do, it's just trying. It's an attempt. And this is the beauty. I absolutely love, to see art. But what I love the most is when things goes wrong, you know. And it's like, this is the thing that I'm gonna remember. I love to see art on a gallery walls and stuff, but what I'm gonna remember is when I go to that specific toilet, and I'm thinking of Vivid toilets, for example, and I'm having like a full-on Vivid Projects toilet, sorry. Having a full-on like art experience there. This is the kind of art I'm gonna remember. The little cards that are left on the side of a cafe place that says but this person is like making stickers. This is like wonderful. This is art is happening all of the time. And last week we were at the market with Gavin and the wonderful some of the wonderful artists who came for the R&D. And you know, art is happening. Like we, you know, it's so nice to call ourselves an art worker, artist, da, 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 da. You know, like my grandmother was an artist, and like she doesn't have any title except grandmother, which is like actually the highest title of all. But yeah, I lost my.
I'm slightly mindful of time. Well, we're coming towards the end, so I'm just if anyone has got any questions, either pipe up or pop them in the chat. I'm aware that also it's probably, I feel like it's been probably quite a lot of things to take in. So
yeah.
You know,
I keep thinking about the milk when you all the things you were saying. I was thinking there's a sort of antidote, and it's kind of fun. I could see it in front of you, Ruth. You position the jars there. But yeah, you can.
And I'm gonna show you an OG at the same time.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I've got beans on top of mine as well.
Yeah. So I just, as you were talking, I was thinking, there's lots of different ways you think of this is something that you leave with us, and it's forming, and it sits like that one sits above my desk. This one sits above Ruth's desk, and it's absorbing whatever is going on in the gallery. But I also feel like it's giving something to us, but I can't like tell you exactly what that is. But it feels like, again, it is that sense, like you go away, but you left something here with us that isn't exhibited in a super conscious way, like a display. It's just put into little nooks and crannies and shelves and next to desks, and there's lots of them all over the gallery. And somehow it felt like that was a kind of, he uses other phrase at some point in the text about like a healing mechanism. Like this idea of all the destruction that's going on, somehow the milk feels like a counterpoint to that. it's like something brewing and growing, and some spontaneous life will emerge, or something like that feels out of it, is how I keep looking at them.
This is
And
so interesting.
It's MILK, isn't it? M.I.L.K. is how you've named it.
Now there's like slashes and like questions marks and stuff in between, but yeah. This is so interesting because then now thinking of the wider structure of the experiment, I'm thinking of milk as an accountability tool, of the milk as an accountability tool, because I was commissioned by quickly. I was commissioned by Maya to make a performance that's called De la boue et des racines. And as part of this thinking process, I started to make milk. I started with my hair. And then rum. This is one of the OG, so I should just look. Thyme and lime and sugar.
Sugar.
This has been an embodied research since I had, so I've been pregnant 3 times. One of the time I had to take a pill, I had to take a pill to interrupt the milk production. So I had a stillbirth, then the miscarriage, and then I had a pregnancy to term. And after this pregnancy to term and after this stillbirth, I had to take a pill to stop milk from being generated from my body. Then after the full pregnancy of Eyal, I started to breastfeed for like 2.5 years, which is like, why? Anyway, I did that, and I was reminded through this very beautiful practice of chest feeding that tradition gets passed on through milk. My heritage that I'm cut from my biological family, my heritage remained in my body, and it's something that I could pass on to my child. So I started to think of milk, and I do not drink cow milk. I've never been able to drink cow milk. So I never thought about milk much until producing my own. So I started to think about milk as a miraculous liquid, as a liquid that could tie us together, as a liquid that retained ancestral knowledge, literally. The wisdom, I thought, oh, wisdom is in books. That's how I was raised, no? And I realized that wisdom is in everything, including this miraculous liquid. So I was interested to almost create a synthesized, almost like a mix of like me and it's a synthesized version of the essence of my lineage in a kilner pot. And then brewing, fermenting my own miraculous liquid. And this practice of even like it's down to a little thing. This practice of collecting my hair is something that got passed on without words by my mother to me. Again, this show is also giving respect to my mother, who died 20 years ago. And so for this hair thing that like probably people would think that this person is crazy. My mom just like leaving balls of hair everywhere, and hair was home. Like those ball of hair were home for me. And then for me to like, without thinking of it, starting to collect my hair, I think there was so much power into that. And obviously we know that hair contains holds DNA and also absorb where you go and everything, especially mine. I always have so many bits. So for this to ferment, the oldest spot, this one been maybe 2 years. And the other ones that I made at Eastside, I made them seasonally. So I think we have 3. I'm gonna make the 3rd season, and we're gonna have 4 seasons present at the gallery. It's not something you explain with words. It's something you have to experience. There's been test as well with more than hair. Like there is blood, there is pee, there is bits from the gallery. And this is such an honor to move slowly. So this is also one of the wonders of this incidental artist framework that provides the time to think and move slowly. I wouldn't have done that otherwise. I don't have space to store, obviously. And just something I wanted to say about the accountability tool. By experience, I've seen this milk being an accountability tool because I used it also during my performances last year in Luxembourg. And when energy were in a certain way, the milk will tell me by reducing. And sometimes I had to let go of some jars because things were going on. So I'm glad that everything is going fine at the moment at Eastside Project. They continue to, the level remains for now.
So far, so good.
You know, like it is an extension of and me, of this like my Angelou thing, like me and the 10,000 that come with me. So, you know, you know,
yeah.
I think it's self-explanatory. So this is gonna be part of the show as well. I'm hoping to make a lot if budget allows, but there will still be a lot, but maybe not like 1,000 like I wanted.
Yeah, 100. Brilliant. Right, we have
I wanted to name the people I forgot to name. We're working with going to work with Chandos Primary School, Manoj Yoga. We go outside too. Bouze Bikaneol, I said, I think, and Wutangu. Yeah, Wutangu here. So Wutangu, who's going to offer astrological guidance. And we are also working with Karen Dlamini, who is a therapist.
Yeah.
So there's lots of weird care interweaved in this project and experiment and residency and shows and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I think we probably ought to wrap it up because we've just gone over time. Although I'm sure we could sit and talk all afternoon because there's just so much in this project. It's amazing. So everyone, I mean, if you're in Dakar, in Senegal, Melissandre and most of the other artists will be over there in the end of May, beginning of June. And then the show here opens, like Gav said, 7th of June till the 27th of July with all sorts of different, they're called Together in the Mud. Also activations, I think I would call them, of the space in different ways. So yeah, all kinds of different ways to be in the mud together, as well as throw soil at white walls and all the rest of things. I'd just like to say thanks, Mel, for your very generosity.
Before you say thank to me, I also didn't mention about an endless supply. So also as a way of accessibility, we will also have a website, accessibility, but also like connecting Dakar and Birmingham. So there will be photos taken by Aisha Jones and questions by the activators on this website. And I think it is a very beautiful way to create something that is its own thing for access as well. Yeah.
Right. So thanks, Melissandre. I'll call you your official name. Thanks so much for this conversation. It's been super rich as always. Thanks to everyone for coming, and we'll hopefully see you all in June, if not before.
Can I read something as a closing, and then I don't speak anymore? It's very short. It's from
Yeah.
The Spirit of Intimacy, Ancient African Teaching in the Ways of Relationships by Sobonfu Some. Maybe the way to start on the path to a healthy, intimate life is to recognize the divine in everything. When we acknowledge that the earth we walk upon is not just dirt, that the trees and animals are not just resources for our consumption, then we can begin to accept ourselves as spirits, vibrating in unison with all the other spirits around us. Our connection to all these living spirits helps determine the kind of intimate life we live.
Nice. Great. Cool. Okay. See you all soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Melissandre.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye, everybody.